I don't know if anybody has questions or comments. Menachem and I are here to answer your questions. Otherwise, we'll have a beer with you. We can answer your questions if you want. But yeah, I think there's a mic out there, or you can just kind of shout your questions from the floor if you want. Evan O'Keefe.
What first attracted you to the story, Chad?
What first attracted me to the story, Chad? It's Kinnared's fault. By the way, first thing I should say is thank you, Kinnared. Thank you, Tara. Otherwise, yeah, this wouldn't happen. So Kinnared approached me at a show, before a show, and it was interesting. It was a Matisiano show that Heidi Westfield was also filming. And this was sort of coming at a time that I'm a Baal Tshuva. I took on more observance later in my life, more Jewish observance. But the idea of navigating that observance with the life that I had led and the life that I, still admired, and essentially navigating those worlds was always a challenge and of interest to me to try and figure out how to navigate them. And I guess just, I don't think I realized it at the time, but I think the process of making this film and watching Menachem, he's the brave one, he put himself in front of the camera, but watching him do that helped me just kind of have my own process. It was over a course of years, and it was very meaningful for me to do that. I guess I saw stuff in Menachem's life that I probably saw on my own, and it attracted me to him. And he's a really fascinating guy. So that's a short answer to that. Yes, Jimmy.
Well, we saw A and we saw B. Was there an ongoing relationship in filming between A and B? I know there's probably a lot on the cutting room floor, but...
You mean the change?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot, but at the same time, the movie is really much a function of the time and resources that I had. So I was kind of parachute in I was working on this while, working a job and raising a family, and I had no idea it was going to take me like 6 years to make. So, which is crazy. So I would parachute in every now and then, and of course, that allowed me to watch an evolution. It seemed kind of abrupt, absolutely. It does seem like an abrupt shift, but, I don't think it was that abrupt. I think it was how the physical dimension of it looked like it was abrupt. But I think what was happening with Menachem was a slower boil, it's a slower cook, and but it's very hard to show that. It's an internal process. So how do you? So I tried to use the externals to kind of show that. But there was stuff that ended up on the floor for sure. But it can't help but look abrupt, I think. Yeah. Yes.
I have a question for Menachem. What the best part and the worst part about seeing your life reflected through Chad's eyes?
Well, I'm so honored that Chad spent so much time with me. I mean, I can't. He's an incredible filmmaker. He's been so patient with me. I felt so free to speak my mind, and I really enjoyed that a lot. He gave me a space to be really honest. It's like a therapist. He's incredible. That's on the one side. I really appreciate that. It's been really beautiful. I've had an incredible friendship I've made with Chad over the years of doing this. The hard part is there's so much the transition. I remember I showed the film. I wasn't supposed to do this, but I showed it to some people in San Diego, California, and there were some upset people that watched the film. And I said, "What's wrong?" They're like, "Well, how did you leap? What happened? How did you get from this point to that point?" And it was interesting because the religiosity factor. They were very upset. They were like, "Why did you make these decisions? Right? How did this happen?" And that's a hard part. But that's the hard part with a film like this. You have half an hour. You can only give so much space. If you were a longer film, you could be more of a treatment. But there's a lot of questions. There are a few gaps, and that's the problem I have. With this is. It's a great film, it's fantastic, but there are lots of questions about how did you get from point, let's say, B to C instead of A to B. We know how we got A to B. B to C is the question. So it's important. A lot of people ask, like at the last, when we showed it at the National Film Board, the person asked the question, well, what's happened now? I mean, what do you feel? And my wife wanted me to note this as well today. like, what about your religiosity? That's a good question. You know, I say in the film that I'm part of my tradition, and Karen had some really interesting critiques, and I think that it has a lot to do with where I'm at right now, and in the film, this is the second part that you don't get to see. That's what they were asking. And I'd say I'm a committed Jew, you know, and I'm not just doing it for my children. I'm interested in God. I mean, what does God mean, but from a different perspective? What does Judaism mean from a different perspective? It's just, I'm not doing it from the space that I was from before. That's the only thing I'd say. But again, Chad can't cover it. You're gonna make a three-hour film, you know, you can't do that. But what he's done is so incredible. Thanks.
Well, what's happened with the band?
The band? Well, this is fantastic, actually. This concert here is a reunion of sorts, where we've had a major hiatus. One of our band, our drummer, had twins, and we couldn't play. And then Ben Gom, was our bassist, is now our drummer, and we've switched around. That's the occasion for us to get all back together and start all over again. And this is the launch. We're launching a Toronto tour. We're gonna play the Rivoli, you know, in July and August, and we're gonna get things moving, hopefully. So this is good. It's a new beginning. That's where the band is.
I'm sorry, we'll take a few more questions.
Okay, sorry. How controversial is what you do in your community, would you say? I mean, how controversial on stage there? Do people shun you because of what you do?
It's interesting. That's a good question. Some people. Could you repeat the question? You want me to repeat the question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Permission. Okay. So, this is like comedy here. Who's on first? Is it controversial? Am I controversial in community because of? Yeah, I mean, some of my friends, it's interesting because in Jewish speak, I've makarved people, which means makarev means I brought people close to Judaism, right? There are a number of people that I did through my years that are becoming a Baalei Teshuvah. And it's interesting, but the people who are most critical of me are those people. Like, they look at me like, what the hell happened to you? You know, what's going on? So, but the rest of the community is like, hey, you know, whatever, you know, they accept me. I haven't really got any. People like the beard, you know, a few comments here and there, but it really doesn't have, and it's great. Thornhill is an interesting community. It's great, diverse. There's lots of places you can go to. You can be anonymous, you can go out of shuls, but it really hasn't been a big problem, just with a few people, but I'm like, whatever, you know, you have your own shtick, I have mine, sorry, you know. I can walk on. If it were a small community, that would be a lot different, you know, then I would feel a lot more alienation. But Toronto, since it's so diverse and so large, I feel like I'm accepted, and it's not as much of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was the concept of Shlemiel developed in your life?
You talking to him?
Yeah.
Who's on first? Okay. Shlemiel jokes. About to have a hard time with calling. What? So how does this concept unfolded over time?
Unfolded over time.
It's interesting. I think my ideas have changed a lot. I mean, I'm writing, like, right now on Woody Allen. I'm an academic too. It's not really covered as much in the film at all. But that's the one part of my life. And I like writing on Woody Allen right now with Shlemiel. So it's developed now. I have a really interesting critique. I have a really strong conceptual framework I use, and it has a lot to do with the Shlemiel's naivete and evil. You know, the existence of evil in the world. I'm really locking into this. I think naivete is it shows you the world, the evil of the world. You know, the Shlemiel character. Like I read Sarah Silverman, I read Seth Rogen, you know, I write on these people now. So now I'm able to, it's evolved, now I have a more clear perspective how to deal with these characters. And also my own life. I mean, I am a Shlemiel, I see myself as, we're all Shlemiels, you know, in a way. We're all innocent, we have innocence. We're very innocent people, we trust people, and we're betrayed over and over again, yet we still trust, like Gimple the Fool. You know, we all have Gimple in us, I think, right? And betrayal is a part of life, and Gimple keeps on trusting people. What a Shlemiel thing to do. How stupid.